Hello, everyone. This is Dylan here, and this is another Top 200 review where I'll be doing film reviews of my top 200 favorite films of all time. So let's get into it, and this is chronologically, so it's from the late 30s to now. So the film we're talking about today is the 1946 classic Christmas film, It's a Wonderful Life, directed by Frank Capra. So It's a Wonderful Life tells the story of a man named George Bailey who lives in a small town, and he really wants to do is just go see the world, just go out exploring, and anytime he gets the chance, he just ends up staying back in town. So we see him as a young boy, saved his brother Harry from drowning in the ice, which caused George deafness his ear. Working at a pharmacy drugstore, helping the druggist who lost his son, and almost gave the wrong meds to another kid, and George helped him. We see George's father and uncle own a bank called Bailey Loans, I believe, and their rivalry is Mr. Potter, who owns another bank, and he's kind of like the antagonist of the story. Moving on, George becomes an older man, likes a girl named Mary. He's about to see the world and stuff, and he has romantic tension with Mary, and it's very sweet. Moving on, years later, his father died. George's father dies sadly, and he becomes the new head of Bailey and Loans, and he's in competition with Potter, and so he's upset because he can't leave town now because he really wanted to leave town, and then he grows close to Mary, and then they marry each other. They're about to go out of the town for their honeymoon, and then of course this is around the stock market crash, so all the money is gone, and then right they're about to leave, everyone wants their money from Bailey Loans, so George and Mary take the money from their share for honeymoon, and they use it for the bank to give everyone back their money. And at the end of the day, they're still in business with $2. Crazy. And so they decide to move into the house where when they were young, they always go by this abandoned house and throw rocks at the windows. And they find out they're gonna live there and have their honeymoon. So, and then Harry, his brother, marries a girl and starts a business. And then of course, Harry joins the war and becomes a hero, and then George, he has a bunch of kids. He's still thriving, still in competition with Potter. Potter even offers him a job, a high pay, and then he says no and stuff, and then it's Christmas Eve, so we're caught up to date, and basically there's a person from the big corporation banks there, and then the issue is that Uncle Billy, George's uncle, has a short-term memory loss, so he had a big deposit to make at the bank, and when Potter is there, he puts the money in the newspaper, and unbeknownst to him, he gives the newspaper to Potter in his face and making fun of him, and then he lost the money and he doesn't remember, and so they don't know where the money is, and then they're screwed, and George is if this happens, I can go to jail. And then Potter finds out this and does nothing because he hates George, and then George goes to help for Potter, and he says, no, you made a fool out of me, I'm gonna get you arrested. And then George's life is crumbling, goes to his family, blames them, and he's just crumbling, his life is falling apart sadly. And so he's thinking, he goes over a ledge, over a bridge on the water. He thinks about killing himself, and then out of nowhere, Clarence, who is an angel in training, was sent to him to save him. He's saying like, I'm your guardian angel. I'm here to help you because you're about to kill yourself, and I saved you. And he's angel in training because he doesn't have his wings yet. And so like cause he saw his whole life, and then he's like, you know, like what Potter did with the money is like, you lost your hearing to saving your brother. And he's like, how'd you know that? Because I'm a guardian angel. And so, and then George is still bummed up. So George wishes himself that he was never born. He was never born. And then Clarence, the angel, says, that's a good idea. All right, you were never born. And then it happens. And then we see this alternative universe of this small town, and what would it be like if George wasn't born. So everything goes wrong. The druggist that George helped it was arrested. He's like the town drunk. All his closest friends, because he's towns with everyone everyone friends with everyone in the town, and they don't know who he is. Like, and like the bars are changed. The town is named Pottersville. You know, Harry died. His brother died because he didn't save him when he drowned in the water. So, and then because he was getting awarded the Medal of Honor, his brother, for saving thousands of men in the war, and that didn't happen because all those men died. All his classmates, his friends don't know who he is. His mother doesn't know who he is. And then he finds out like Harry. I say Harry died, and they find out Mary is a old maid, like at the library. And then George is horrified. His home is like still abandoned. He sees his alternative life, and it's horrible. Like he's crazy. Like Clarence realized that this opens his eyes to George, like saying that you had a wonderful life. Why would you throw it all away? So George at the end of the film says like, please, I want my life back, please. I want to live. I want to live. And then just like that, things are back to normal, and George is the happiest he's ever been. Very emotional ending where he goes home. He said he's shining in the town, wishing everyone Merry Christmas because it's Christmas Eve. You know, like it's like he's even Mr. Potter made him Merry Christmas, and like you know he tries to set him up. It was like he goes home, his kids, his wife. Like it's so emotional. The media and the police there to arrest him, but he's so happy. And then one of the greatest endings in history, basically, that Mary told the whole town what the trouble George was in. Everyone in the town chipped in and gave money to George to help save him out of the jam. And it shows like what the friends you have. It shows you the what you do for others, you get good, you get something in return, and just in goodness, and like be a force for good. That's what my mom always says. And basically everyone, his family, his friends, the neighbors, everyone he helped out. His brother comes home, his uncle, everyone, all this money just to help with the bank, to help George not go to jail. And then my favorite line, it's not spoken in the film because Clarence the angel reads a copy of Tom Sawyer, and at the end we see that book is given to George. In the inside it says, dear George, I got my wings, thanks so much. And then my favorite quote, and I even put this as my senior quote in the yearbook, and it said, no man is a failure who has friends. And that quote just stuck with me because it's so true. It's just so impactful. And then it's true because no man is a failure who has friends. And because George didn't become a failure because he had all his friends, he had the town, and gave all the money for the bank, and then it just helped him. It shows him that he does have a wonderful life after all. And then of course the thing said earlier in films, like every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings, and at the end of the film, a bell on the Christmas tree rings, and then his daughter's like, look, Daddy, every time bells ring, angel gets his wings, and because Clarence got his wings. And it just ends on a great happy note. And it's such a great film, great Christmas film, great family film. Highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it. It's so good. The acting, Jimmy Stewart, like, gives one of his great performances ever. as George Bailey. The movie's funny, it's sad, it's emotional, it's hilarious, it's uplifting. It just brings a tear to my eye. Like every time we watch it for Christmas every year, my mom always cries. It's just so good. It's just such a great film, and it's a 10 out of 10 film for me. Like I watch it so many times. It gets better. It shows you that the good you do for others, you get goodness in return. And no man is a failure has friends, and that's true. And it's a great film. It's a Wonderful Life. If you guys have not seen it, please watch it. It's so good. One of the best, really, and my favorite Frank Capra film of all time. And I need to watch more films of his, and I need to watch like the Philadelphia Story and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Do you do Philadelphia Story? I think so. I have to look at that. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is another good film. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Great film. Go watch it. So good. Hope you guys like this review. Definitely had an impact on me on cinema. And that's pretty much it. So thank you, and stay tuned for the next review.